Hey everyone, my name is Daniel Young, and this is my presentation on topic number 2. This prompt discusses the ethical issues surrounding condom use promotion programs in India. And this came from our reading, Key Components in Planning, Implementing, and Monitoring a Behavior Change Communication Campaign that Increased Condom Use Among Male Clients of Sex Workers in Southern India. For starters, I wanted to highlight some of the potential ethical issues I had before diving deep into the India project. Some ethical issues surrounding the particular project that I came up with include the protection of the identity of the men involved in high-risk sexual behavior, protection of their HIV status, and challenging the overall cultural norms and understandings surrounding both HIV and commercial sex in the community. Before we get started, a quick summary of the Belmont Report seems fitting. I know most of us have probably covered it in other classes, but it serves as the foundation for a respectable study. So what is it? Quickly summarized, it follows 3 main qualities. The first is respect for persons, and can be summarized pretty briefly as just autonomy. The next is beneficence, which can be defined as minimizing risk while maximizing the benefit of a study. And lastly is justice, which can be summarized as the distribution of benefits and risks fairly in a study population. In this study, respect for persons or autonomy was appropriately maintained by having citizens and hotspots volunteer to participate in the various educational activities about condom use and HIV. The researchers also did a good job of not singling out individuals they might suspect were involved in commercial sex activities. And I think this was important to maintain a safe, comfortable learning environment. Allowing participants to choose whether or not to be involved and when they wanted to leave was a great way to ensure autonomy was upheld. Beneficence was preserved by similar means in this study. Maintaining participants' anonymity removes potential targeting by the community, greatly preserving beneficence. Having the plays on the streets and asking all passerbyers to participate in activities also minimized the risk of those involved in high-risk HIV activities from being singled out by the community and possibly alienated from their friends and family in the community. The setup also allowed the researchers to reach into the community to raise awareness of the issue and begin normalizing the talk of safe sex practices. Engaging everyone in the community provides a way to maximize the benefits of participating in the project. Justice, on the other hand, I didn't feel like was as well maintained. Engaging an entire community is the best way to ensure there is equal distribution of risk and benefit. These researchers attempted to do that as best they could, but fell short in my opinion. The hotspot communities obviously greatly benefited from this project, but they also absorbed all of the risk, while richer, better off communities remained risk-free. These hotspots, in my opinion, were vulnerable populations, and I think the researchers could have done a better job protecting them. Researchers also didn't involve areas surrounding the hotspot populations. This potentially missed out on individuals traveling to and from the hotspot at times outside of the educational activities. Lastly, The focus being only on the men participating in commercial sex limited the justice of this study as well. If I were to do a similar project, I would make a couple of changes to the proposed study. For me, I would include some of the wealthier surrounding communities instead of just focusing on the hotspots. I would not be surprised to see studies showing travel in and out of these hotspots by individuals at odd times of day that potentially are being missed by these educational activities. In order to combat this, I would propose many of their implemented strategies to be expanded into surrounding communities where these citizens likely travel from. This could be done by finding common travel routes used by outside communities. I think this would benefit the justice of the study by not focusing on one subset of participants, and also the beneficence by maximizing the potential benefit of participation. Lastly, the study focused purely on the men involved in the commercial sex activities. I know this could likely be due to cultural differences from the US, but I would tweak this study to also benefit the women involved to improve their knowledge on the subject. In this instance, I think challenging the cultural norms could benefit the overall population. This would also provide researchers another avenue to tackle this public health issue by, seeing as the burden of HIV is shared equally by men and women. The justice improvement through this change would stem from a more equal sharing of the benefits and risk in the community. Beneficence would also be improved by further maximizing the benefit of this study. Personally, I think the researchers did a pretty good job with this project. The respect for persons portion was well done in my opinion. There were small tweaks that I discussed that could improve the beneficence of the study, and the justice limitations we talked about seem to stem primarily to resource availability and likely cultural norms. Because of that, I felt like the researchers did a good job on at least attempting to tackle the ethical issues involved with their research project. Thank you, and I look forward to your questions.